Congressman, thanks for being with us here on the Hill once again. Appreciate the time, sir. Congressman Turner, the head of that committee, did he need to do what he did? And if so, was the way he did it the right way of going about it?
Well, let me put it this way. The vote on this has now been revealed, and it was 23-1, so obviously in a very bipartisan fashion. You know, you want to say that maybe it had something to do with FISA. I will tell you that we're not far apart.
What vote you're referring to? I'm sorry.
Yeah. The vote to bring in other members of Congress to see what the threat was, because that's really what it comes down to. So a couple of things. So it was 23-1 on that vote, as has been reported now. And so it wasn't a partisan issue, that's for sure. You mentioned FISA, so if I can just put that to rest for a second for you, too. We're only varying on a few things in FISA reform. That's the debate. Not whether to do it or not. That is not the debate. So let's be clear. If the debate going on in the House of Representatives over FISA is over a couple of issues, but not over whether or not to do FISA reform. So going back to the issue as far as releasing this, everyone felt that this was a serious threat that the members of Congress should be aware about. And if we don't think that members of Congress should be aware about our national security threats, then we have a problem here. Because I think that they do. Now, the details maybe of the threat we can keep limited. Those types of things. We didn't feel like the White House was responding to what we knew as the threat on the Intelligence Committee. And we want to have some type of reaction. I mean, look, there is a concern. I mean, you have seen appeasement from this administration in many ways. We have got to be tougher on these types of things. We have to be ahead of the game, as I think someone mentioned. Were we falling behind? Do we have the capabilities? There's a reason we developed a Space Force. Understand that these things are coming from the people that are in the know, whether it's Armed Services Committee, Intelligence Committee. These are people that are in the know that are making decisions along this line, and we want to make sure that something is being done.
What would you say to Congressman Ogles, a Republican, a member of your conference, who said it's become clear that the intent was not to ensure the safety of our homeland and the American people, but rather to ensure additional funding for Ukraine and passage of FISA?
Well, I would say this. I never heard that mentioned one time as we discussed this issue in the Intelligence Committee. Not one time. I didn't hear one member talk about that. And, you know, Mr. Ogles, he's got the responsibility as a member of Congress. I hope that he went and read what the threat was. But he can have his opinion, and he might have a motive for his opinion. But I don't think that that was a motive behind what we were talking about. We take national security very seriously, and this threat and the potential capability is very concerning. Look, people didn't have much concern about gain-of-function research until it had the capability to possibly create a pandemic.
Hey, Brad, it's Mick. A quick question on this 23-1 vote, because I hear what you're saying. I understand that's bipartisan. Here's my question. That's to tell the members, and I get that. You and I have been on these briefings together even before you were on Intel, and the committee has to say, let's go tell the members. But you don't have to go public with it. You don't have to declassify to do that. Everybody there has got a classification that they can go to those meetings. We used to do it all the time. So why go public with it? I think that's the issue here, not telling the members. I think it's the right thing to do, but why tell the public?
Well, telling the members, as you said, is the right thing to do, and it should have stayed right there. In essence, besides leaks maybe from members of Congress, the information has come from the White House and the Pentagon. But you got to understand, we weren't getting responses as to what our response was going to be to this and how we were going to counter this threat. And so we wanted members of Congress to know, which, as you know, the more members of Congress feel impassioned about something, the more the White House is inclined to react. I wish it hadn't leaked, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just, and last question to you. This is one of those issues where you actually have, you know, the House Speaker and Republicans and the White House saying we're on it. Like, we've all talked about this, we're on it. We've got a handle of this. Do you trust that the Biden administration, the Biden Defense Department, et cetera, is on top of this threat and can handle it going forward as it relates to Russia?
Well, understand the role of the Intelligence Committee. I hope that the Intelligence Committee on behalf of all the members of the representatives and on behalf of the government can say, yes, our government is on it. And that's what we're hoping to get out of this at this point anyway, is where the White House has a conversation with the Intelligence Committee, which, by the way, in its current state, with the members that we have now, with plenty of intelligence experience and national defense experience, we don't leak, and we take these concerns very seriously, both sides of the aisle.
Congressman, got to leave it there. We thank you for the time, and we will see you back here on the Hill soon. Congressman Brad Wenstrup of the Intelligence Committee. Thank you, sir.